This is the start of a new reading vlog. I decided for March I was going to ignore the TBR jars and just read books that were coming up in my Libby app, as well as ones that I was just like into right now. So kind of mood reading a little bit. The idea too was to also stop reading once I get a 5 stars. So here's hoping. I am also recovering from whatever cold sinusy thing this is. So I've got a wicked cough. So it seems the best time to begin some reading. I'm going to start with The Rose Garden. This is set in Cornwall, mainly. There's a woman whose sister has just recently passed away, and she's decided to spread her ashes at this place that they used to visit in Cornwall. And the first chapter got me. I was already tearing up. So let's keep going. I'm feeling a titch better. I'm about 30% of the way through The Rose Garden. It started out really emotional, and then I kind of just like lost interest. I don't know. I've been kind of slumpy lately, and every book I seem to starts with such interest, and then I just can't keep it for some reason, and I'm just having a little struggle right now. I mean, being sick doesn't help, so I thought I'd get out and be a little bit more like moving. Oh, but the snowdrops are up. I'm going to see if I can all the little snowdrops on our lawn just coming on up. I look forward to certain things throughout the year. Like, that's what's really cool about nature. It's cycles. And I look forward to the snowdrops because the snowdrops mean the grape hyacinths, and then the daffodils, and then the tulips and the hyacinths, and my beautiful allium. Is that what they're called? Yeah. Allium. And just everything starts coming back alive. It's a glorious morning. It's becoming porch season, and I'm just enjoying some vitamin D right now. My voice is a lot better, so I think I can talk a little bit on this. I finished The Rose Garden. I didn't start this out thinking it was going to be 3 stars, but it is. I thought it was going to be 5 stars. It had all the things that I liked. It was like smugglers and time travel and a little bit of romance in Cornwall and a rose garden. Like, it had all the things that could have been a 5 star for me. And I think it was just the story kind of fell flat. And what's interesting is that it began so emotional. I was tearing up. Her sister dies, and she needs to make the decision where she's going to put her ashes. And one of her thought was that she's going to bring the ashes to Cornwall because that's a place that they used to spend as children together. And she goes to Cornwall, and she goes to this Trelleworth house where there's a beautiful rose garden, and she's helping her friends make a tea house, and it's lovely. The time travel I did not particularly like. It was sort of willy-nilly. She just kind of like traveled whenever and then just like disappeared back whenever, and time moved differently in both places, and it was just sort of like more plot convenience rather than I was gonna say believable time travel, but like that's kind of what it was. It was like, okay, you're just like up and leaving her right when it gets exciting. Like, it just, like, I think that's what happened, was that every time something exciting was going to happen in the past, in 17, what was it? Oh no, it was like 1650 or something. It stalled the storytelling. Then she'd go and she'd research what happened, and then she'd be all like sad for a couple of days in the modern century, and then she'd travel back and be like, oh my god, I love this place, I'm in love with this man. And okay, the romance, great, slow burn. I think I've been burnt out on these time travel stories. I went through a Lynn Curlin phase, and she writes this like entire series of women that go back in time to these medieval men, and some medieval men come forward in time and meet these modern women, and like they're just a heaps load of fun. And I started reading one the other day, and like they're so fun. And I think that's what this one kind of lacked, was like the fun. It just felt like it was trying to be really serious, and it didn't need to be. It really didn't. There was a cool twisty twist at the end that was appreciated. It bumped it from a 2 to a 3, so that's good at least. But this was kind of a disappointment. I'm really sad. So we're gonna move on to the next book. I just got it in the library, so we're gonna do an audiobook. And I have Water Moon, and this one's sort of like hyped right now, like a lot of people are reading it. So I'm looking forward to it. I've listened to the first little bit, and it flows exactly like a lot of the Japanese translated books that I have listened or read. I listened to, what was it, that cafe one? I'm gonna pop that there. The cafe one, and I listened to that Lonely Castle in the Sky? Lonely something. Put that there. And I don't know if it's like the style of Japanese writing or maybe the translation, I don't know, but it always feels a little bit reserved. There's like this magical element, and everything is just so really cool, and like it reads literally like an anime, right? Like it has this little spark of interesting ethereal magic to it. But then, even though emotional things are happening, I always feel like you're at a distance. You're never like completely vulnerably put into it. And I don't know what that is. So I struggled connecting with those other two. I really enjoyed them, but there was like that extra little like step that I just couldn't get to. So I'm hoping this is not the case, because this one is pretty cool, and also it has a moon on the cover, and you know I'm a sucker for anything with a moon on the cover. So part of me doesn't want to do this, but I started Water Moon, and it's not hitting. It won't be a 5-star, so I'm just gonna DNF it. I'm not into it. I'm really just not. And I've listened to about 10% of it. Can't get into it. I don't want to carry on. And this evening, when I was given the option of either listening to a podcast about Survivor and Water Moon, it was podcast about Survivor. That told me hands down that I need to DNF it. So on to the next audiobook, which is this, and I haven't figured that out yet. You are precariously perched right now, so crossing my fingers that we're not going to have any issues. I have been so sick. My throat is pretty sore, so I'm not going to speak for too long. But I've started my second book, so I usually read an audio, a physical, and an ebook at the same time. And yes, you better believe it, I have started a good chunk of this so far. I'm gonna speak a little bit more to this when my voice is a little bit better, but this is just being accountable and showing you that yes indeed I did start it, and we are going to stop when we have a 5 stars, and I have a feeling this is a 5 stars. So are we gonna stop after 2 books? I don't know. Okay, that's enough. My voice is done. My character died. Was not expecting that. of my holds have come in and I was getting impatient. So I just searched what I had on ebook that was currently available and I went with The Cloisters. This is part of a project that I'm doing this year that is sort of medieval inspired. This is a modern day story, but it takes place at, I didn't realize, a real place called The Cloisters, which is part of the Met Museum in New York, and it's based on medieval and Renaissance history, and it's literally built like an abbey. It's about a woman who gets this sort of internship falling into her lap at this place. It is billed as a thriller, so I'm hoping this one reads really quickly. I've read 2 chapters. I like it so far. I'm into it. I think this is a book that is right up my alley, so cross my fingers. This might be my 5-star. So I'm about 50% of the way through The Cloisters. I've decided to do a tandem reading it and listening to it. It felt like I just kind of wanted to like get through it a little bit faster. I am simultaneously like kind of bored but also intrigued at the same time. It's got all of the like the medieval historical context and just like feeling that I really like. The main character feels a little blah, and the intriguing character, Rachel, who's supposed to be like this super rich girl, and she's just like effortlessly able to just draw in other people. And like she's got this weird charisma, but like we're not really given a reason other than she wears expensive clothing. Okay. I think this book is what the kids call all vibes. It's a summer internship. So it's hot and it's muggy. There's something going on between the colleagues at this museum, and Anne's kind of just like in the middle of it. I don't like these types of characters. I want one that pursues something, one that has curiosity about life. And Anne's just like, well, I guess I ended up here. And okay, I'll update you when I finish this. I got a haircut. What do you think? I went back to a look that I had about 15 years ago. Yes, I am that old. And I just went with bangs. And so my hair is getting used to being not in this position anymore, but being in that position. And I kind of love it. It's fun. It's different. It's different. I've had the same hairdo for like 8 years. So it's time for something different. Update on The Cloisters. This was like a 2.5. It's kind of tricky because here's the thing is that I absolutely loved the medieval aspect. I loved the medieval. I loved the tarot card bent. I liked just the setting was so cool. Characters, like the main character, I did find to be kind of bland and a little bit of like just let life kind of happen to her. Whereas her foil, I guess, Rachel, was very much in control and kind of manipulated the situation. I got about 75% in and it picked up. There were like twists and murders and all of that. And that pacing was okay. But the first 3 quarters, very slow. I was reading basically because I was really enjoying the atmosphere. So unfortunately, this was not a 5-star, but it was part of my little medieval project that I'm working on. I've checked that off the list. We'll see you with another update for the Hod King. Again, perched precariously, but this is the only time I have to talk about this. I finished it. finished it all, 567 pages. And this is one of those like deceptive books where the entire end is just like previews of other books, so it's not as trickly thick as it thinks it is. So this is my 5 stars. Oh, okay, so I totally predicted it. I knew it was going to be. I think it's just because the writing and the world is just so cool. A lot of people compare this to Alice in Wonderland in that it's kind of like a milieu book where the main character just kind of like goes through a series of different adventures, and they're all kind of leading on to one another, but they're all, like they're all very different. The same connection with Alice in Wonderland is that the world is absurd. It is complete in absurdum. This level of the tower that we're in is, I think, a bit of a scathing mirror to our own world, about our own curiosity about other people's lives and making it our business to butt into other people's lives and make their bad news our exciting news. So, like a girl falling from a building, she's suddenly the most important person in the newspaper the next day. Even though she died, everybody's like, oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. She's like a fallen angel. And there's this weird lack of empathy. And I think that is absolutely a reflection of our world. Josiah Bancroft does this great thing where he is able to make a complete farce out of the world and yet it be so real and scathing. And that's why I have to give it 5 stars. And I was thinking about the writing, and I found in his book that I read last year, was it The Hexologists, that it was like he was using a thesaurus and he was using all the big words. This one, the writing is thick and it is luscious, but it is not heavy. It doesn't bog the story down. The story still flows really fast. It is an immersive world. He is an artist, but with words. And he draws such a real atmosphere and real people that it is just sublime. I also love, without like giving too many spoilers, so the same thing with this one, the Hod King and the Arm of the Sphinx. The titles have a sort of double meaning, and you don't really figure out that double meaning. Like, you think you've figured out who like the thing is, like who's the Hod King. You think you figured it out, and then he goes and he throws in a like, actually it's this instead, and you kind of go, oh my god, that's so clever. So he's got these great titles that are just layered, and I love it. I love it. Cannot wait that I still have one more book in this series. I think it's The Fall of Babel. Bring it on. Bring it on. I'm ready for it. I am so ready. This vlog thankfully ended well because, oh my god, the first book, 3 stars, second book, 2.5. Like, my mood reading wasn't delivering, and a DNF. So thankfully, this book saved this whole vlog from being a complete downfest. And if you have not read Senlin Ascends and you are looking for a fantasy that is unique and whimsical and immersive, sublime, some of the best writing you're going to encounter, I want you to check it out because, whoo, it's going to take a lot to top that one. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Karen. I'm the Book Libraut. I love exploring all different types of books. We'll see you again soon. Bye.